This is Tank's Vlog, September 7th, 2018. Wrapping up the day in sports, we are brought to you by Allow Me to Be Frank, the weekly podcast, which is available on SoundCloud and iTunes. We had a double show this week. We had David Strauss from MyBookie AG, our great sponsor, who gives us some personal insights on how lines are set and trends in betting, and how MyBookie comes up with so many great wagers. And if you use the promo code TANK, you get a 50% sign-up bonus, of course. So go out and do that. And iTunes, and we also had another update with Stu Feiner, the Source, who's beginning his new show, Barstool Sports Advisors. Check your local listings. I know it's on channel 11 at 10 a.m. Sunday morning. Much better than those talking head shows that are on the networks for the NFL, where they say nothing for 3 hours. So check it out. NFL season kicked off Thursday night in Philadelphia, home of the Eagles. After winning the Super Bowl, they unveiled their banner. Of course, they had to wait a little bit extra because of a thunderstorm, but I guess it was worth the wait. Although the game itself, oof. If the NFL was starting today and this was the first game people saw, there wouldn't be a second game. Let me tell you, this was brutal. This was a brutal game. Penalties, sloppy play. I mean, this is what's been happening. It's now, week one's become an extension of the preseason because nobody plays in the preseason. So you have the first 2 or 3 weeks, you have sloppy football every season now. This is what Roger Goodell has made. This is the mess Roger Goodell has made. He's strangling that golden goose. He's choking that golden goose every night. Before bed, he chokes that golden goose multiple times. But it was an ugly game. And the Atlanta Falcons, I mean, when the chips are down and the spotlight shines, they just choke time and time again. You know, Julio Jones is this great receiver, 1,500 yards, but he can't get in the end zone. Of course, I don't think the throws were good that Matt Ryan threw to him, but there's just something about him. He doesn't make that play. I mean, they had 4 cracks in the end zone. 4 cracks. He couldn't get one of them to Julio Jones. He couldn't get one of them. This is a guy that could outleap anybody, make great catches, but when he gets to the end zone, it's like he gets tentative. And he made the catch this time, but he just couldn't get his feet down. He came down out of bounds, and the game was over. Eagles won an ugly football game, 18-12. I mean, penalties were ridiculous. I mean, for a minute there, I thought. It's just incredible. And the Falcons. The Falcons are a dumb team too. You get the first possession of the game, you go down the field, and if you're turned away, you kick the field goal. You don't go for it on the first friggin' possession of the game unless you're at the 1. And maybe even then you don't go for it. I mean, Dan Quinn is not a good coach. Dan Quinn also chokes under pressure. We saw it in Super Bowl 51, and we saw it again tonight. We saw it in the divisional playoff round against the Eagles, and this was almost an exact replica, complete with Julio Jones not being able to come down with a catch at the end of the game, of that game last year. And Darren Sproles, when he did it, he's a tough man. I mean, coming back from injury, and then tonight, they turned him into Linda Blair, the Exorcist, almost turning his head completely around. And that's why the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and why the Falcons blew their chance to beat the Patriots. Prime example. It's like a same old. While the NFL was getting underway, baseball was cast into darkness as the NFL's first week will take precedent this weekend. Of course, baseball's in the middle of its pennant races, and they try to get some attention there. But even a regular season NFL game always seems to do better than the World Series when they go head to head. Not many teams in action on Thursday night, wisely so. Padres beat the Reds 6-2. Cubs with that David Bote. David Bote continues to come up with incredible clutch home runs late in the game. And he did it again today as the Cubs rallied to beat the Nationals 6-4. It was the Tribe 9-4 winners over the Blue Jays. And the Braves edged the Diamondbacks 7-6. Today's 3 stars are Francisco Lindor of the Indians, who had 2 home runs and 4 RBI, scoring 3 runs as the Indians beat the Blue Jays. Jordan Hicks, who had 7 tackles and 1.5 sacks. Of course, he almost made the most costly penalty, but I still think he was probably the best player on the field with the disruption he caused on defense. And Francisco Mejia of the Padres, who had 2 home runs and 4 RBI as the Padres beat the Reds. Today's birthday shout-out goes to Jacques Lemaire, a Hall of Famer with the Montreal Canadiens, who later became coach of the Devils and led them to their first Stanley Cup in 1995. Lemaire turned 73. This is a melancholy farewell today. Burt Reynolds played in several sports movies, including The Longest Yard. Passed away today at the age of 82. Now, what a lot of people don't know is he was a running back for Florida State. And when he went to Florida State and was on the Seminoles, his college roommate on the football team was none other than Mr. Headgear himself, Lee Corso. Barstool Sports and Sports Encyclopedia takes a look back 40 years ago to a moment all Red Sox fans, I'm sure, would want to forget. If you're 50 years old and a Red Sox fan, you probably still have traumatic memories of the Boston Massacre, as the Yankees in a 4-game series came in trailing by 4 games and outscored the Red Sox 42-9 and left Boston in a tie for first place. This was more than the Bucky Dent home run. The reason the Yankees came back and won that division was what they did this series, and the Red Sox often shot themselves in their own foot. In one of the games, the Red Sox had 7 errors. 7 errors. So check out the story at Barstool Sports as we look back at the Boston Massacre. And of course, at Sports Encyclopedia, where sports history lives. It's Friday. I've released this week's 6-pack college picks. Click the link below. See who I picked. Hopefully, I do better than last week. I went 3-3 straight up. But 2-4 against the spread, that's no good. That sucks. That really sucks. Although I'm happy one of the 2 I got right was Notre Dame beating Michigan. So check out my 6-pack picks. Check out Allow Me to Be Frank. Check out my Bookie AG. Check out everything, SoundCloud, iTunes. It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. We got the weekend coming up and the first NFL weekend. College football this weekend is kind of lackluster. And then we got also finals in U.S. Open. Serena Williams has a chance to tie Margaret Court on Saturday after winning her way to into the finals on Thursday. So that's something to keep an eye on. So check it out and have a good day.